Hey there, Rednecks, Preppies, Redneck Preppies. It's me, the Redneck Preppy. How you doing today? Great? Good. Just a friendly reminder that the Redneck Preppy can also be found on Rumble and Odyssey. Links are in the description below. I get the occasional raised eyebrow when talking about fishing, and folks find out that I never, and I do mean never, use live bait. The reaction is almost always the same. You're trying to catch fish, right? Well, of course I'm trying to catch fish. I didn't drag myself out of bed at 5 a.m. to sit on a boat and sip lukewarm coffee while staring at the water for the fun of it. Well, okay, maybe a little bit for the fun of it. But yeah, I'm definitely trying to catch fish. I just go about it a little differently than some folks. See, I got a philosophy of fishing. Yeah, I know. That sounds weird, like Zeno of Citium took up bass fishing on the weekends. But it's true. My approach isn't about results, at least not purely. It's about how you get those results. And for me, using live bait just doesn't feel particularly sporting. Here's how I see it. Live bait is food. That's it. Plain and simple. You are literally tossing food into the water and hoping that a hungry fish does what a hungry fish does. Eat. Fish eat worms. They eat minnows, leeches, frogs, crawfish, basically whatever fits in their mouth and moves in a way that says, I'm alive, come and get me. So when you toss a worm on a hook and drop it in the water, you're just saying, hey buddy, free buffet over here. Now where's the challenge in that? Let me explain it another way. Imagine a person who hasn't eaten all day. They're starving, and you put a big, juicy hamburger in front of them. They're not going to ask questions. They're not going to hesitate. They're going to inhale it like a shop vac. You didn't have to do anything clever or persuasive. That was easy. But now imagine you give that same hungry person a rock that's been painted to look like a hamburger. And not just any rock either. You've shaped it just right. May even spritzed it with a little burger grease. Added some scent to make it, authentic. But at the end of the day, it's still a rock. And if that hungry guy still bites into it, well, that took some skill. And that's what I'm doing with artificial lures. I'm not using food. I'm using hunks of metal, wood, plastic, sometimes even bits of yarn and feathers back when I was fly fishing and trying to trick a fish into thinking that it's something edible. A fish, mind you, that's been honed by millions of years of evolution. A largemouth bass can detect vibrations underwater up to 100 feet away with its lateral line. It can smell chemicals in the water potentially hundreds of feet away. And it can see things that we can't even comprehend, such as simultaneously seeing both sides of a lure clearly as they follow it in the water. They're better at being fish and hunting prey than you or I will ever be anglers. So if I can fool one of those fish into going after a chunk of molded plastic, that's a win in my book. That's a personal triumph. That's not just fishing, it's a battle of wits. And sometimes I even win. Now this is something that tournament anglers and those who follow the scene totally understand. Competitive fishers don't use live bait. It's not allowed in most tournaments. Why? Because the challenge and the skill that comes from reading the water, knowing your quarry, and picking or even customizing the right lure to do the job. And yeah, we do sometimes spend way too much money on tackle, but that's part of the obsession. And fly fishers, oh, they really get it. They're the ones tying tiny hooks with bits of fur, tinsel, and feathers to look like some obscure mayfly that only hatches in late June during an odd number of year. That's dedication or madness, depending on your perspective. I tied this fly and it caught fish. That's amazing to me. I think that's where some of this divide comes from. Catch and release, which dominates tournament angling and fly fishing, and so-called meat fishing. For the former, fishing is viewed as a sporting endeavor, where for the ones who take fish home for food, well, they look at it with a little more utilitarianism. Now, there isn't a thick black line separating the two camps. I know many people who have feet in both worlds, but I have found that catch and release types tend to prefer lures, and those who keep some or all of their fish lean towards bait. Now let me be clear here. I don't judge anyone who fishes with live bait. I really don't. If you're out there with your worms and your minnows, enjoying the sunshine, getting a few bites, more power to you. You're fishing, and that's what matters. You're on the water, maybe with friends, maybe with family, maybe alone with your thoughts, and that is a beautiful thing. It's just not my thing. We all enjoy the sport in different ways, and that's what makes it great. Except trollers. That's one group I truly don't understand. I'm sorry, but how do you enjoy fishing when doing 3 miles per hour across a lake with a rod just bouncing in a holder behind the boat? You're fishing the same way you would mow your lawn, slowly, methodically, and hoping something happens. To each their own, I guess, but trolling isn't my jam. Anyway, I hope you found today's video at least be vaguely entertaining and even mildly informative. If nothing else, you've now heard a grown man passionately defend using hunks of plastic instead of real worms. So that's something. Take care, and bye-bye.